Hello, how are you, algebra students? Here's page 3. Alright, so you're looking at this system now. You can use any method, so you got to make some decisions. In some ways this is harder, when you have to make the decision. There's a couple things you could do for number 9. You could solve the second equation for y and plug it in using substitution. I think elimination is probably a little bit quicker and more direct. I don't have any opposites in the x's. I got positive 2x and positive 5x. I don't have opposites in the y's. I got positive 4y and positive y. However, I could multiply the bottom equation by negative 4 to create opposites. So when we do that, negative 4 times 5x is negative 20x. Negative 4 times y is negative 4y. Negative 4 times negative 7 equals 28. All right? And then I bring down the other equation. And now I'm set up for elimination. So you can see I didn't have any equations solved for a specific variable. I didn't have any equations. I could have done substitution by solving this bottom one for a variable, but this is a little bit quicker, more direct. Just multiply the bottom equation by negative 4 to create opposites in the y's. What would be the opposite of positive 4y? Negative 4y. What do I have to multiply 1y by to get negative 4? Y. I multiply it by negative 4. But I can't just multiply the y. I have to multiply the entire equation by that, and that's how I got this equation right here, this top one in red here. Okay. So once I've done that, I am now free to add the columns together, the x's together, the y's. They cancel out because opposites are added together equals 0. So negative 20x plus 2x is negative 18x. And 28 plus 8 is 36. All right. So now I divide by negative 18. And I have x equals negative 2. So it looks like I found x. So now I'm going to go up into that top equation. And I'm going to find the second variable. I could use either the top or the bottom one. I've been choosing the top one so far today. Just seems a little cleaner to do that. So negative 2 for x. So in place of x, I'm going to put negative 2 right here. And then plus 4y equals 8. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 4y equals 8. And add 4. This is what you call stupid line problems, which are really algebraic solving. And now we can divide by 4 and find out that y equals negative 3, positive 3. Okay? Does that work in the other equation? Let's check it. So x plus y equals negative 7. So we have 5 times negative 2 plus 3 equals negative 7. It's negative 10 plus 3, negative 7. And it worked. So that is our answer, negative 2, 3. All right, on to the next one. Oh boy, this one's not good. Nothing solved for a variable, so substitution's not a good choice. I have no opposites in the x's. I have no opposites in the y's. And not only that, I can't take one of the equations and multiply it by a number to create opposites. So in this case, I'm going to have to do it by multiplying both equations by a number. So I either have to make a decision that's going to allow me to get the x's to eliminate or the y's. Now the y's better choice for certain reasons, like see I already have opposites in the signs. I just don't have opposites in the coefficients for the y's. I've got 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 both go into 6. Because I already have opposites here, then I can multiply the equations by a positive value. I don't have to worry about multiplying by a negative and missing a sign someplace. Alright, so 2 and 3 both go into 6. So now you have to ask yourself, what would I multiply the top equation by, or 2y, what do I multiply by to get 6 for that? So I'd have to multiply by 3. So the top equation is going to get multiplied by 3. Alright? And then
Jessica Stewart, could you please come over by the Dean's area? Jessica Stewart, could you please come to the Dean's area? Thank you.
then we're going to have the bottom equation multiplied by 2, because negative 3 times 2 would make negative 6y. Remember, the whole idea is I want to get opposites here in the y's. That's the choice I made. So I multiply the top equation by 3 to create a 6y, bottom equation by 2 to create a negative 6y here. Alright, so let's do it. Must be my agent calling for a movie deal. I guess I better take that. Hope you don't mind. Mr. Vangerud. Yeah. Well, I can't talk right now, though, because I'm recording a video, so. But I hadn't planned on it, so. Alright, yep, bye. Alright. That was Mrs. Scheffler. She wants me to be on the teacher team for the Knowledge Bowl quiz thing, so I guess I'll have to do that. So I guess it wasn't my agent calling with the movie deal, but maybe next time. 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times 14 equals 42. All right. 2 times 7x equals 14x. 2 times negative 3y is negative 6y. 2 times negative 8 equals negative 16. All right. Now I've got it. I can add these together because I have got opposites in the y's. So that'll cancel out. 12x plus 14x is 26x. 42 plus negative 16 is 26. Divide by 26. X equals 1. Okay. We've managed to find ourselves our first variable. Now remember, I'm not going to go into these equations here that I created to find the second variable or to check, because if I made a mistake there, my check will work, but I'll be wrong. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the original equations for both those tasks. So now I've got 4 times 1 plus 2y equals 14. Okay, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2y equals 14. Subtract 4. 2y equals 10. Divide by 2. Y equals 5. Okay, so now I'm going to check it. With the other equation. So the check. 7x minus 3y equals negative 8. Using the other equation. Alright, so 7 times 1 minus 3 times 5. Seeing if that equals negative 8. 7 times 1 is 7. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 7 minus 15 is negative 8. It checks. So our answer is 1, 5. Alright, that's number 10. Number 11. Oh, before I leave 10 completely, look at how we made that decision. We looked at our two equations, saw there wasn't a lot of things set up for easy solving, so settled on elimination, because once you get it set for elimination, that's the easiest, cleanest way to do it. And we determined that we would find opposites, get opposites in our y's. So it's kind of like finding a common denominator at that point. 6 is a number that both 2 and 3 go into, so we want to multiply them by something that will give us 6y and negative 6y, and that's what we did. All right, now we'll move on to the other one. Next one, that is 11. These are kind of the hairiest ones in this page. Is probably the most tricky. All right, 4y minus 5x equals 9, and x equals 4y plus 11. So by now we've trained our minds to look for equations that are solved for a variable. All right, we're solved for x here. All right, so substitution might be our best choice. So I'm going to substitute. Here's x in the top equation. Remember, if one of my equations is solved for x, because both equations have the same x and y value, I can substitute that value that it says x is, which is 4y plus 11, in place of x. So I have this equation here. 4y minus 5x equals 9. All right, so I'm going to keep this 4y minus 5, and in place of the x, I'm putting 4y plus 11. And I can't forget the rest of my equation equals 9. So we'll do distributive property. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20y. Negative 5 times 11 is negative 55. Some of you that I was helping today were doing plus negative 55. It's going to mess you up when you go to finish solving this. If it says plus negative, just change it to minus. That's the same thing. And it equals 9. All right. What do you think about these like terms here? 4y minus 20y, that's negative 16y, minus 55 equals 9. All right, next. Sorry. We've got the ability here and the opportunity to add 55 to both sides. That makes 64. Negative 16y equals 64. Finish it off by dividing by negative 16. Y equals negative 4. All right, so that's kind of a long, drawn-out process, isn't it? That was just to find the first variable. That's why this one's kind of a difficult one. So I'm going to take that, put it in there, figure out what x equals now. All right, so I have x equals 4 times negative 4 plus 11. Right? Negative 4. And that's negative 16. So x equals negative 16 plus 11. X equals 5. All right, one last thing to do, and that's to do the check. So we'll take the other equation. 4 times negative 4 minus 5 times 5. Does that equal 9? So we've got negative 4 times negative 4. And that's negative 16. Minus 5 times 5, which is 25. Oh, that's the problem. I didn't put negative 5 there. Now it'll work. So, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. And that now works out. So 9 equals 9. So x equals negative 5 and y equals negative 4. That's why we show our work. So the mistake there, I didn't put the negative on negative 5. And that will happen to people as they're doing system solving. All right, one last one on this one, and this one will go a lot easier than the last couple have. So here you have a chance that both solve for y. Therefore, you could put the other sides of the equals equal to each other. Two things equal to the same thing are equal to each other. So we have negative x equals negative 2x minus 5. Can't have x on both sides, so the best step to take here is to add 2x to both sides. That gives you x equals negative 5. All right, let's see how that works. So I'll plug that into this equation. Y equals, oh yeah, look what I've got here. Here's a negative. Here's a negative. They're not one and the same. There are two different ones. So now y equals the opposite of negative 5, which is positive 5. So y equals positive 5. All right, now we go into do our check on the last one. So I have 5 equals negative 2 times negative 5 minus 5. This is 10 minus 5. So there you have it. It checked out. So we have negative 5, 5.
Kevin Mello,
That's
if
it.
you're in the building, please come to the front office.
So-
Kevin Mello, please come to the front office.
Fortunately for Kevin Mello, he managed to get on this video. If I'd been about 30 seconds faster, he would not have had that opportunity. All right, well, this is very algebraic third page here, isn't it? So let's do the word problems and then we'll be done.